Good afternoon, all of you, and welcome back to Excelsior Academy. So today we are doing the lecture third part for the topic cell cycle from the cell biology, and the source is Cooper. Okay, so in the previous lectures we talked about what are the different phases of the cell cycle, and in the last lecture we talked about the regulators or the regulations of the cell cycle. Now all these regulations are because of the cyclins and the CDKs. What is CDKs? Cyclin dependent kinase. So what are the different categories of these cyclins and how exactly they help in regulating each phases of the cycle? Today we are going to learn that. So what are the families of cyclins and cyclin dependent kinases? So we know that CDK1 controls passage through start as well as entry into the mitosis in yeast, right? So you need to remember start in case of start is there in the case of the yeast, whereas in the case of mammals it is called restriction point, right? I'm repeating again and again so that you don't forget. Now, CDK1 is controlling this phase with association with the cyclin. So already we have discussed that CDK1 along with the cyclin is forming your MPF. Remember, CDK1 along with your cyclin. Which cyclin? It is
Cyclin B.
Yes, cyclin B. Together it is forming MPF, where MPF stands for maturation promoting factor.
Maturation.
Okay, so D2 to M transition is driven by CDK1 in association with mitotic B-type cyclins, already mentioned. Now, if you see somewhere, if you see all these things, it means what? These are the nomenclature present in the humans. Okay, the name of the cyclins, homologous copies are present in the humans. Okay, so but no need to remember all these things. Just remember about the cyclin B type. Now, passage through the start is controlled by CDK1 in association with the distinct class of cyclins is called the G1 cyclin. So remember, whenever I was talking about the different phases of the cell cycle, I always mentioned that you are going to have G1 cyclins, S cyclins, G2 cyclins, and M cyclins. Okay, so all these cyclins are responsible for initiating the next phase of the cell cycle. Remember the graph in the previous lecture we talked about, so it is starting to rise in the level and then goes down. Then again it increases and goes down. So this is how the level of cyclins are maintained. Okay, so initially it will start and towards the end of the mitosis it will just go down. Now, these multiple members of the CDK family, they associate with specific cyclins to drive progression through the different stages of the cell cycle. So what does it mean? It means that to go from G1 to S, you have got different set of cyclins. Then from S to G2, another set of cyclins. Then G2 to M, another set. Okay. So all the four phases of the cell cycle have their own specific cyclins. For example, progression from G1 to S is regulated by CDK4, 6 and 2 in association with cyclins D and E. Now in this lecture, what we are going to study today, you need to remember a lot. Okay. So remember, so CDK4, 6, 2, they are associated with cyclins D and E. Okay. Now complex of CDK4, 6 with D-type cyclins play a critical role in progression through the restriction point in G1. So 4 and 6 is along with the D-type cyclin. CDK2 is with the cyclin E. Okay. Now, E-type cyclins are then expressed. CDK2 cyclin E complex is formed in order to go for the transition from G1 to S and initiate the DNA synthesis. Okay. I mean, are you getting the point over here? See, complex CDK4 and CDK6 along with the D-type cyclins, it is important to leave the restriction point, that is to go ahead. Okay. Then CDK2 cyclin E complex gets activated so that the cell enters the S phase and starts the DNA replication. Okay. Now, complex of CDK2 along with the A-type cyclins, at the later stage of S phase, it gets activated, whose function is to go into the G2 phase. The initiation of mitosis and passage through M phase are then CDK1 in association with A and B type cyclins. So all the four phases, different sets of cyclins have been mentioned. Okay, so just let us revise. So from G1 restriction point, it is your CDK4 plus CDK6 along with your cyclin D. Okay. Now it has entered the S phase and DNA replication has started. That is your CDK2 along with your cyclin E. Okay. Now, if it is now from S to go to G2 phase, it is your CDK2 along with your A type cyclin or cyclin A. Okay. Now, for M phase, you have got CDK1 along with your cyclin A as well as B. Now it is clear? What are the different?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this slide is very, very important. Okay, don't get confused. What you will see over here is that even though we say that cell cycle starts with G1, it goes to S and then G2, then M phase, but the number of the cyclins or the alphabetical order is not in proper, right? It is because whenever the scientists were working or researchers were doing the research and all, whatever molecule they isolated first, and able to understand their function, it was named like that. Okay, like for example, cyclin A was discovered first, but later we came to know that it was present in the mitosis. Later we studied about the cyclin B, C, D along with that. Okay, so that's why you will see that it's not that G1 means you will have cyclin A, S phase means the cyclin B. It is not like that. It is just because of the discovery events. Okay. Now, again, so same thing in East, it is called, all these numbers are given. In the same, what we had just discussed now, it is the same thing written over here. Okay, so you can see that in addition to regulation of the CDKs by cyclins and by phosphorylation, what we have seen in the previous lecture, the activities are also regulated by binding of the inhibitory proteins called CKI, that is your CDK inhibitors. So in the previous we saw that either it is the regulation is because of the cyclins which go and bind to the CDK, right? And or it is because of the phosphorylation. So either you phosphorylate to make it active or dephosphorylate to make it inactive. Okay. Now the third type of regulation is because of the inhibitory proteins, which is called CDK inhibitors or CKIs. Okay. So in mammals, two families of CDK inhibitors are responsible for regulating different CDKs. What are those family members? They are called LNK4 family, which specifically bind and inhibits your CDK4/6. Okay, so we know that where the CDK4 and 6 is acting at the G1 restriction.
G1.
Okay, yeah. So your LNK4 CKI is for your CDK4/6 along with your cyclin D. Correct? From your previous slide. So it means what? It is going to inhibit the transition from G1 to S. Now, there is another family called CYP-KIP family inhibitors, which inhibits the complex of CDK2 along with the cyclin A or E, thereby inhibiting sorry, thereby inhibiting the entry into the S phase and progression to the G2 phase of the cell cycle. Okay. So you can see over here, the CDK2 is there along with the cyclin E, that is your S phase, and then CDK2 along with cyclin A. So both these can be inhibited by your CYP and KIP family of inhibitors. So now what is happening? Either the cell will get restricted or arrested at the S phase, or it will get arrested at the G2 phase of the cell cycle. Is this slide clear to everyone?
Ma'am, in both mammals and yeast, it is inhibiting, ma'am.
Yes, yes. It's just that for the nomenclature, they have given this comparison. So what my suggestion is, whatever book you follow or notes you follow, just follow this CDK thing only. Okay, CDK. Don't go for the other nomenclature. Otherwise, you will get confused. Is it clear? This
Okay,
slide
ma'am.
is clear. So you have got two families of CDK inhibitors. Okay, one is called LNK4 family, the other is CYP-KIP family. So first family inhibits your CDK4/6 along with the cyclin D, inhibiting the passage through the restriction point in G1 phase. You are this one. Okay, it is inhibiting this phase. The other is CYP family. It will inhibit CDK2 cyclin E, that is arresting the cell at the S phase, and another one is CDK2 cyclin A, that is arresting the cell at the G2 phase of the cell cycle. Okay. So these two means like the previous slide and this slide is very, very important. Okay. So this is same thing written over here, what we have just discussed right now. Okay. Now, the growth factors. So we know that in the lower organism, it is the nutrient availability which regulates their cell cycle, whether to divide or not. So in case of, for example, bacteria, if the nutrient availability is good or high, then only the bacteria will undergo replication or undergo binary fission, right? Whereas in the case of higher organism, it is depending on the growth factors. So now we are going to discuss about the growth factors and how it is regulating the G1 CDKs. So first one, proliferation of animal cell is regulated largely by extracellular growth factors. Okay, that control the progression of cells through the restriction point in G1. So it is talking about the growth factors. Now, what happens is that in the absence of growth factor, the cell will enter G0 phase. What is G0 phase? It means
Resting phase.
yes, the cell is at the resting phase. So it is not dividing. Okay. Now, this control of cell cycle progression by extracellular growth factors implies that intracellular signaling pathways stimulated downstream of the growth factor receptors, ultimately acting to regulate components of the cell cycle machinery. So what does it mean, this sentence? It means that, see, if you have got the cell over here, okay, if any extracellular growth factors are there, if these growth factors are there, they go and bind to the receptors. Now, once these growth factors goes and binds to the receptor, it is going to stimulate or start your intracellular signaling, right? So inside this signaling will start and eventually, depending on the growth factor, it will undergo the changes. Okay. For example, let's talk about the D-type cyclin. So we know that cyclin D, CDK4, CDK6 binds with the cyclin D, right? Remember in the G1 phase of the cell cycle. So now cyclin D is synthesized in response to the growth factor stimulation. So because of which the signaling pathway like RAS, RAF, MEC, ERK pathway gets activated. So this pathway will study in the cell signaling after the cell cycle. Okay. So cyclin D will be continue to be synthesized as long as the growth factors are present. So what is happening? You have got the growth factor, right? It will activate your RAS, RAF, MERK, ERK pathway, and this pathway will induce the synthesis of D-type cyclins. So what will happen? It will go and bind to your CDK4 and 6, make a complex, and it will cross the restriction point, that is ready for G1 to S transition. Okay. Now, cyclin D is also rapidly degraded during G1 as a result of ubiquitination by the APC. So remember in the previous lecture also we talked about APC. What is APC stands for?
Anaphase promote.
Yes, anaphase promoting complex cyclosome. Okay. So its intracellular concentration rapidly falls if growth factors are removed. So what they're saying is that as long as the growth factor is present, cyclin D will be synthesized. Okay. Now, once the growth factor has been removed, what will happen then? APC gets activated and degrades your cyclin D. Okay. So it is going to degrade the cyclin D. Thus, as long as growth factors are present through G1, complexes of CDK4 cyclin D drive cells through the restriction point. Is this slide clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So how the regulation is happening? You have got the growth factor. Your RAS, RAF, MERK, ERK pathway got activated, which will increase the synthesis of your cyclin D. Cyclin D along with the CDK4 and 6, it will form a complex and it will pass a restriction point going to the S phase. Now, if you don't have the growth factor, what will happen? The ABC C ubiquitin ligase will get activated and it will degrade the cyclin D. Okay. So this is how it is being regulated in the G1 phase of the cell cycle. On the other hand, if growth factors are removed prior to this key regulatory point in the cell cycle, the levels of cyclin D rapidly falls and are unable to progress through G1 to S. So what does it mean? It means that, see, you have got the restriction point over here, right? So till this point you had your growth factor. Now just before passing the restriction point, the growth factors has been removed. So what will happen? The moment the growth factor was removed, the APC will get activated and it will start degrading your cyclin D. So it means that now the cell is going to be in G1 phase only. Okay. It cannot go to the S phase. Is it clear? It means what? It was not able to cross the restriction point and hence it will be present in the G1 phase only. Okay. The inducibility and rapid turnover of cyclin D1 thus integrates growth factor signaling with the cell cycle machinery, allowing the availability of extracellular growth factor to control the progression of cells through G1. So what does it mean? As long as you have got the growth factor, cyclin D will be synthesized. It will bind to CDK4 and 6 to pass through the G1 phase. Okay. Now,
Ma'am,
yes.
why it is not entering in G0 phase, ma'am, in resting phase, when it is degrading?
What? Just repeat. I didn't get your point. Huh?
Ma'am, you said that it will degrade, no ma'am, APC.
Huh.
So it will be remaining in G1 phase only. Why
Yes.
it can't go to G0 phase, that is in resting phase?
See, that's what I'm saying. Na? See, what happens is now you have removed the growth factor. So it is not crossing the restriction point. It is in your G1 phase only. Okay. Now, if again the absence of growth factor keeps on continuing, that is, it is still not present. The growth factor is again, it is not coming. It means what? Now the G1 phase will go into G0. Actually, in cell cycle, we never write only G1 phase. We always write G1, G0 phase. Like we write G2 M phase like this, because it is difficult to differentiate whether the cell is under G2 phase or M phase. In the same way, we don't know whether the cell is under your G1 or G0 phase. Now, see, even if in this process, till here, suppose the growth factor was there, okay? So we will say that, okay, now it is in G1 phase. But till this much time, you have kept your growth factor. Now you have removed the growth factor. Okay. So what will happen? It has not crossed the restriction point. It has not entered the S phase. So to a person who is doing the experiment on the cells of their topic, the cell cycle, I am going to write as G1 or G0 phase only. Okay, because under the microscope, and usually we use confocal microscope for this studies, you cannot actually differentiate between both G1 and G0 phase because both are looking same. As such, there is no changes, right? Because what is happening at the G1 phase? It's just that the proteins required for your S phase are being synthesized. That's all, right? Is this
Okay, ma'am.
your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, cell cycle regulation by RB, cyclin D and E2F. Okay. So what is RB? It is retinoblastoma. It is actually your tumor suppressor gene. Cyclin D we know, and E2F is your elongation factor. Okay, which is used during your translation and all process. So now what is happening? We need to incorporate the role of cyclin D along with the RB and E2F. Now, if suppose mutation happens to cyclin D, one second. Huh? Okay. So now suppose mutation happens to cyclin D, what will happen? Anything happening to the cell cycle or cell cycle regulators, it is going to cause cancer. And mainly what we have seen till now is that if suppose cyclin D gets mutated, it causes lymphoma and breast cancer. Okay. Now talking about the retinoblastoma. So we know that it is a tumor suppressor gene. Now, how it was identified? It was identified as the protective gene responsible for retinoblastoma. From the name itself, you should understand that it's the cancer of the eye. Okay. So it forms the eye tumor. So basically in your genome, in human genome, its function is tumor suppressor gene. So from the word itself, what does it mean? It means its function is to suppress the, yes, correct, suppress the formation of tumor. Now what will happen if suppose RB gets mutated or inactivated? It is going to cause tumor then, because now since the RB got mutated, it is no longer able to suppress the tumor. So finally what will happen? A person having mutation to the RB is going to have the tumor. Now, whereas oncogene proteins such as RAS and cyclin D. Now, what do you mean by oncogene?
कैंसर कॉजिंग जीन,
हाँ, रंजन फिर से बोलो.
कैंसर कॉजिंग जीन.
Very good. So the RAS are actually your cancer causing gene. So again, see the point. Even if it is a tumor suppressor gene or oncogene, if any mutation happens to these to these genes, okay, what will happen? Eventually, at the end of the day, you're going to have cancer. Okay. So, whereas oncogene proteins such as RAS and cyclin D drive cell proliferation, the proteins encoded by many tumor suppressor gene act as brakes that slow down cell cycle progression. So, what does it mean? It means that even if suppose there are certain genes which are responsible for causing cancer, tumor suppressor gene like RB are going to act like a brake. That is to slow down the cell cycle progression. Now, what is the function over here? Here the cell will try to understand, okay, something went wrong. I should wait for the repair mechanism. Now, when the cell is not able to get repair, what is the ultimate step to be taken? The cell should get, the cells should undergo suicide, cell suicide, that is apoptosis. Okay.
Apoptosis.
Yeah. But what is happening in the case of cancer? It is overcoming that step. It is not following the basic rule that something goes wrong, I should wait for the repair. If repair is not happening, I should go for the apoptosis, right? But the cancer is not waiting for that. It will just overcome all these rules and finally it will divide. Even though the DNA is incomplete or the fragments are there, broken fragments are there, still it will undergo the cell cycle progression. And because of which what will happen? None of the cell will have a specific role to be carried out. Okay. So simply they will just keep on dividing. Okay. So the activity of RB is regulated by changes in phosphorylation. So again, see, this is what is very important. As I mentioned before also, in cell cycle, whatever proteins we are talking about, everything has to be regulated by phosphorylation or dephosphorylation. Okay. Now here also it is regulated by phosphorylation as cells progress through the cycle. So it means as your cell cycle is progressing from different phases, your RB is also being regulated with the help of the phosphorylation and dephosphorylation. Now, who is phosphorylating RB? It is your CDK4/6 cyclin D complex. So CDK is what? Cyclin dependent kinase. Kinase means it is going to add phosphate group. Okay. So it is phosphorylating your RB. What? CDK4/6 cyclin D complex as its cells pass through the restriction point in G1. So now remember your cell cycle. G1 is there, restriction point is there. So when it is crossing the restriction point, CDK4/6 cyclin D is phosphorylating your RB. Okay, so phosphate group is added. Now when RB is not phosphorylated, your cell is in G0, G1 phase, right? RB goes and binds to the E2F, that is your transcription factors, which regulate expression of genes involved in cell cycle progression, including the gene encoding for your cyclin E. Now, where do we need cyclin E? Yes?
In CDK2.
That is for your S phase, right? CDK2 along with your cyclin E, which is required for your S phase, correct? So, now we are in your G0, G1 phase. What they are saying is that RB is dephosphorylated form. It goes and binds to your E2F. What is E2F? It is your transcription factor, which is responsible for the gene expression of cyclin E. Now, I need cyclin E for my S phase. Okay. Now, if suppose it is bound to the ETF, E2F, what will happen? It will not transcribe the cyclin E gene. So what will happen then? It will not go to the S phase. Is it clear? Okay, I'll explain with the help
Yes,
of the diagram. I have the diagram also. Yeah. So it's the same thing written, what I'm going to explain here. So you have got the RB. So it is in its dephosphorylated form. It means no phosphorylated group is there, right? So it is bound to your ETF, E2F. So because of which what is happening, let us say that cyclin E gene is over here present, okay? So there is no transcription happening, correct? Now, CDK4/6 cyclin D is coming. It has crossed the restriction point. Now, this will go and phosphorylate your RB, correct? So we got the phosphate group. Now, because of the phosphate group, what will happen? It is RB is no longer bound to your E2F. Now, E2F is your transcription factor. It is free now in order to carry out the transcription. So now my cyclin E is produced. So what does it mean? It means I am going to my S phase now. Clear?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So the same thing written over here. Okay. So phosphorylation of RB by CDK4/6D complex results in dissociation from the E2F, which then activates your transcription of it. Okay. So now the gene is ready for its transcription. So RB will act as a molecular switch that converts E2F from a repressor to an activator. So what does it mean? Before it was not able to transcribe because RB was attached or bound to the E2F. Now once RB gets phosphorylated, your E2F is free and genes will be transcribed. Okay. So the control of RBE by CDK4/6 cyclin D phosphorylation in turn couples this critical regulation of gene expression to the availability of the growth factors in G1. So overall, along with the growth factors and this regulation, finally what is happening? Your G1 is complete. Okay, now it will go to your S phase. Now coming to the S phase. So progression through the restriction point and entry into the S phase is mediated by the activation of CDK2 cyclin E complex. So now after the E2F has transcribed your cyclin E, so what is happening? The level of cyclin E is increased, correct? Now it will go and bind to your CDK2. It means what? We have now entered into the S phase. Now this is also very important point to remember. So during your G1 phase or G0 phase, the activity of CDK2 in cyclin E is inhibited by the inhibitor called P27. This is also very important to remember. So the growth factor signaling via RAS, RAF, MERK, ERK and PI3 kinase AKT pathways, it reduces both the transcription and translation of P27. So what will happen? That time your CDK2 cyclin E is inactive. Okay. Now, once CDK2 becomes activated, it brings about the complete degradation of your P27 by again phosphorylation. Now, once it gets phosphorylated, it is then targeted for the ubiquitination. This positive autoregulation further activates your CDK2 cyclin E, which also phosphorylates and inactivates the APC, preventing your cyclin E degradation. So now cyclin E level has increased, right? So it will go and bind to your CDK2 and finally progressing through the S and G2 phase. So you can see over here. So during your G0, G1 phase, CDK2 and cyclin E is inactive because of the complex P27 bound to it. So once it is crossed the restriction point, what is happening then? The CDK cyclin 2 is actually phosphorylating your P27 group. Once it is getting phosphorylated, it is going for the ubiquitination. That is, it will be completely degraded. And now CDK2 cyclin E level will increase. It will also inhibit the activity of APC because you don't want further degradation of your cyclin E. Right now, we want more level or more synthesis of cyclin E so that the S phase can be progressed to the G2 phase. Okay. Yeah. So that's all about the regulation with of each phases. And if any doubts are there, you can ask me now.